Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you very much for joining this video. In this video, we are going to discuss and see different key features of workMETHODS ERP solution. Just because this ERP subject is a very wide subject and our solution has 25 plus modules, in this particular video, we will not be able to cover all the modules, but we are going to cover mostly used modules, and it will give you an idea about the power of this ERP, how easy it is to use, how customizable it is, and how it can be very powerful for your business. I'm very excited to get started, but before that, let me give you some background about this demo so that will help you understand the demo. So the first thing, I'm going to log in as an administrator. What does that mean? That means that I have access to all the features, all the functionalities, all the modules that are enabled in this demo. Now, typically for a user, that is not the case. They are not administrators. They will not have access to all the screens. They will not have access to all the functionalities. They will not have access to all the fields on that particular screen. Hence, while we are watching this, please keep in mind that this you are going to see the view of an administrator. Your user is going to see much less of modules screens depending upon the permissions that have been set for that user. The second thing is that I have enabled key about 8 to 10 modules for this particular demo. Like I mentioned, there are 25 plus modules. So if you would like to see a demo on specific modules, please contact us. You can see the email address in the description. You can contact and we will be very happy to show you the demo on those. The third thing is that this system has a demo data, which means that we have created this demo data which everybody can understand. Now, your industry could be different, your data will be different. Hence, we will be helping you to create that data in the ERP. This demo data is being displayed only for the demonstration purposes. So please do not presume that when you see the products, services, or the vendors, or the list of suppliers, that those are going to be your vendors or suppliers. It is just for the demonstration purposes. Secondly, you might find some of the user interfaces, some of the screens, some of the dashboards to be overwhelming. Please excuse us because of for the demonstration, we wanted to show you all the possibilities in there. Obviously, when we work with you, we will get the requirements, we will understand what each user needs, and we will personalize those dashboards. Hence, the screens will not be as overwhelming as it looks in this demonstration. And lastly, so that everybody can understand, what we have done is that we have configured this demo for a simple computer manufacturing company which is going to purchase certain products, for example, like mouse or keyboard, CPU cards, memory cards from its vendors, assemble that into a computer. So that's what we have used so that most of the people can relate with that particular example, and that's why we have chosen that one. So with that being said, let me start with logging in as an administrator. We do have enabled the security code over here. That security code basically avoids some robots logging into the system. That can be enabled, disabled, depending upon the configuration. All right, so we come to the home page of our ERP. Like I had cautioned you, you might find this page to be a little bit overwhelming. Some of you may not find that overwhelming. That's great. But let me try to simplify this for you. So what you see on the top over here is this top menu, which does not change as you move across different screens. This top menu shows you different modules that have been enabled for your instance. So for example, third parties is a module, as well as products and services is yet another module. On the left hand side, you will always find a menu which is context sensitive. That means that all these sub menus that you see over here, this is related to the module that has been selected. Right now, because that I'm an administrator, I do see these menus as a setup, admin tools, etc., users and groups. But for a typical user, they may not see anything over here. Or we can customize that for the user to see a certain specific things. And for the remainder of the screen, that you can see that you are seeing the information in the ERP. Again, because I'm an administrator, and because for this demo purposes, we have enabled all the different kind of widgets on the dashboard. That's why you see such a screen with a lot of information on it. We can certainly customize that and personalize, as I mentioned before. But while you are going through this particular screen, you can notice that there are almost a widget for whatever you think about. There is about the database statistics, that is about your manufacturing, that is about your invoices, vendor orders, last vendors modified, invoices, orders, etc., etc. So all these modules, I'm very sure that will satisfy most of your needs. And if not, then we can certainly build some custom widgets for you. These widgets are pretty flexible. You can customize these widgets, you can close these widgets, or you can move this widget. So I can hold it over here and I can move this above wherever I want, and this particular widget will move over there. So it is as simple as that. So I guess that is about the home page. Your home page will certainly look different than the administrator home page, but I hope that you understand that particular thing. And let's get moving on to the third parties, which is our first module. So let me click on third parties and get onto the third parties module. Now within this module also, you will see a very familiar interface, and that is what is the beauty of our solution, that you will become very quickly familiarized with the functionalities and the user interfaces as we move along with the ERP. And once you start using it, within few days, you should be able to master this user interface and know how the functionality works. So here you can see on the top menu all the modules. You can see the left-hand side menu, which I said context sensitive. That has changed now. And you can see the relevant things for the third parties module. And over here, which is more of an information page slash splash page slash home page, whatever you can call that. But certainly it displays some of the widgets and information about your third parties. This can be again further customized. So what is a third party? Third party is nothing but your prospects, your customers, your vendors. All this information collectively is captured within this third party module, and not only just captured, but there are significant amount of functionality that is linked with this particular module. So let's dive into that. Let me just quickly take you to this new third party. How would you add a third party? So let me click over here, and you can see that there are many fields over here on this screen. They are address related, finance related, tax related, etc., etc. Not only that, but we can add as many fields as you would like to this particular screen. You can see on the right hand side, there is also codification system. You can have a customer code or a vendor code automatically generated for you. And again, that generation and the code structure depends upon whatever your company requirements are. We can customize that for you. You can see you can capture currencies, you can capture you can assign sales representatives, capture a logo, so on. There is a lot of information that you can capture over here. We are not going to create any information, but we are going to pick one from this list and then dive into more details. Now, before we dive into the details for that, let me just explain you this list view of third parties. Now, when you go to all these different modules, you are going to see these list views. So rather than explaining it for every list, let me explain a little bit more detail this list view, which will be repeated for all other modules also. So within this list view, you can see the header over here, and this header is displaying at the bottom the name of the different columns. And above those columns, there are some empty fields. These empty fields are for the search. Because that your third party list is going to be significantly long, it could be having hundreds and thousands of records in there. It might get very difficult if the search is not powerful, but we already have the search for you. So suppose that if I am going to search by the word computer, this means that I would like any third party which has name computer in it. And if I search for it, I see those third parties which have name computer in it. Or I can maybe just click over here and say that, okay, I want to have the list of all my vendors, and click on search, and I would see the list of all the vendors over here. Isn't that so easy? One can get very quickly used to this, and you can see the power of this particular search. Furthermore, you can also go to the top, and on the top you can see there are some tags and categories. We are going to discuss about these tags and categories in detail after a few minutes. However, you can just see the power of these tags and categories, that when you customize this particular list, you can tag your vendors, your customers, or in that case, once we go to products and services, your products, with these different tags. Thereby you can search them. So for example, if I would like to search for, geography Europe, and I would like to search any vendors which are in Europe, I may not have any, but let me look at the entire list. And yeah, this particular customer is in Europe. So you can look at this particular custom. You can use this for tagging your products, your services, or even third parties. And for example, if we would like to know as to which ones are with the status of hot, and search for them, you will get a list of those which have been tagged as hot. Now you can just imagine the possibilities. You can tag different third parties or your products and services. So this particular list view is very powerful. It has a powerful search. At the same time, you can filter those records, segment those records with these tags and categories. Not only that, but you will also have vendor tags and categories, and you could tag the vendors with different categories. Plus, you can search them by certainly your sales representatives that have been assigned to them. So all in all, this is very powerful. Let me tell you one more thing about this. How about if I would like to search or display other fields? Because as you remember, for third party, we are capturing so many fields. Well, if I click on this list over here, I can get all the fields that are available for this. So now suppose that if I say that, you know what, I would like to display phone number over here. So I just select this particular field over here, and voila, you have the phone numbers. Not only you have phone numbers being displayed, but you have a search field over here to search for the phone numbers. So suppose that they are, you want to select all from Europe, you can just search by the country code and so on. I will leave it up to your imagination about how you can plan to use this, but you can just see right out of the gate the power of this particular list view. All right, so let's dive into some details about one of those vendors. So let's say I would like to select maybe Dell computers. Why not Dell computers? Let's search Dell computer. Let us look into the Dell computers. So here now we are looking at the details view of Dell computer. You can also see the fields over here for Dell computer. Like I mentioned, the tags and categories are also shown over here. But at the bottom, you can see the linked files over here for this particular third party, whether it is your vendor or customer. And these linked files could be your contracts, non-disclosure agreements, or specification documents, and you can very easily upload those documents over here. Then you will see different links of the events, and these events are different events that are going to happen within the business. You don't have to necessarily hand enter, but when you create an invoice, delete an invoice, create an order, etc., this particular events get automatically created for you. You can send an email to them. So by clicking just send email, you will send email, the email form opens up and you can type an email. Once you send an email to this through this instead of your Outlook or any other email client, this email gets attached to the record. You can modify this record by clicking this. You can change information. You can merge the records. So suppose that if you realize that two companies have merged or by mistake somebody has created duplicates, which can happen, you can merge those records. Moreover, now on the top here, you can see that there are contacts and addresses stored. So you can store contacts and addresses for them, and they are always available. Just like I mentioned before, this is a list view, and you know now the features of the list view, you have a search capability over here. So eventually when your contacts, number of contacts grow to maybe 50, 100 of those within that particular third party, the search is available for you. The next thing is about this particular customer, and here you can get as a customer lot of information over here as to how many proposals are right now been created, how many orders, how many invoices, what is the current outstanding bill for them. At the same time, you can see the latest proposals, latest orders, shipments, customer invoices. So when you look at this particular ERP right now, what you will notice is that we are trying to present you most of the information in a well organized fashion, but at the same time, as much as possible, without overwhelming the user on one screen so that your number of mouse clicks is reduced. I hope you agree with me on this. Now, right on this particular screen, you can see that as a customer, you can create a proposal, you can create an order, you can create a contract, bills and orders, or create an invoice. So once I, let us say, create a proposal on this particular thing, the proposal screen opens up. And here I can definitely, the customer is selected over here. If you want to type in any reference for the customer, the date, the validity duration, payment terms, etc., etc. I need not repeat myself again that these fields can be customized. You can write a note a public note for this. So for example, once we select this, when we enter this information, I click on create draft. Once I create a draft is created for it, that is when in this particular I can add up the products. So here immediately I see a drop down of my products. So let's say if I choose a flexible keyboard as one of the product, just to remind you, this demo is built for a computer company, hence you will see some components from the computers here. So I click on this particular product, whatever the price, the quantity, the discount and all that, you can select that and you can add that to this proposal. Now, the moment you are adding this particular thing to the proposal, let me add one more product to that one just for the heck of it, the CPU, and let me add that once I have added all this information. What you will see is that there is something, the linked file is created over here, and this is nothing but a provisional proposal. So if I click on this one, a PDF document opens up. I'm going to drag that over here so that you can see this particular document. But this PDF is generated for you automatically. This is a commercial proposal, but it is provincial. There is no number associated with it because it has not been yet approved. But here you can see that automatically the logo is picked up. From is your company name comes over here to Dell Computers, and you can see that all the terms and conditions that you had set up for this customer automatically show up over here. And then you can see that two of the products that we had selected, they are showing over here along with their quantities, along with their unit prices and the total, etc., etc. And at the same time, you will also see any tax calculations that you might be assigning to this record. Here I have not inserted any tax records, and that's why you don't see the tax, but you see the payment terms, and you can see a multi-page kind of an commercial proposal is already created for you automatically. So this will significantly reduce the work for your employees to create all this, because they are going to only select the products from here from the drop down list and your proposal is created. While you're doing this particular proposal, if you have the permissions, you can validate this one. So that suppose that if you have a manager who has to validate, we can set the permissions. So somebody can create a provisional or a draft proposal, and the manager will automatically get notified and they can validate this one. And once you validate that, that proposal then becomes a permanent proposal into your system. So once I validate, click on this validate, it will ask for confirmation. It will assign a number. Now this particular number can be customized. I click on yes, and the provisional is created for me. So the reason I'm going into so much of detail right now is because that once we get into the other modules, I want to speed up a little bit as you will become familiar with this similar functionality. Now, the same way you can send email. So what you can do is that with this proposal, if I click on send email, this proposal will be, as you can see, the proposal PDF gets attached over here, and I can send this proposal over to the customer or anyone else within the company. Isn't that so simple to do? And plus, once you send this email, I might be repeating myself, but this record will be attached to that particular customer, that this proposal was sent to some, to some individual in the company or to one of the contacts over there. Setting accepted or refused. Again, this functionality can be delegated to somebody else depending upon the permissions, or with the same person, but they can just accept this or refuse this particular proposal. And you can also clone this proposal. So if you are going to prepare copies of this kind of a proposal, you can clone this so that you don't have to enter this data again and again. So you can create a template and you can clone this particular thing. These kind of functionalities about cloning and sending emails and modifying them, etc., is going to be available throughout all the modules. And last but not least, but you can delete them also. And this was again, we were just talking about one of the functionalities over here. So now going back to our customer that we were dealing with, and that was actually not a customer. I think Dell Computers is, yeah, it's a customer. So that's what we were dealing with over here. So when you click on the customer, like we had gone through here and we clicked on one button. Now I'm not going to click on this particular button, but I can explain you that you can also create a purchase order. You can create a contract. The process for creating an order, creating the contract is exactly same like proposal with some minor variations. However, it is as easy as creating the proposal. You can create the order, create the contract, and automatically the PDFs are automatically generated for that specific order or the contract. So the need of manually creating those, or creating that in the Word document, or entering into the system and manually going into some another place and creating them, that completely is eliminated. The system automatically generates it. That particular template for your proposal, order, contract can be all customized, so that we can customize it with your own logo, with your colors, with your font, with the positioning of the fields and all that. And then last but not least, you can create the invoices or credit notes. So here itself, you can see that within one screen itself, there is significant of functionality that is available for you with a single mouse click. Now let's move on to projects. And these projects are nothing but if you are working with the customer on a specific project basis, in any specific consignment, then you can create this project and work with the project. We are going to get into the projects in this module, so I'm not going to touch upon that in detail right now. Related items are depending upon if you have the related, any kind of a related items, like for example, if you have any commercial proposals, you can search for commercial proposals and you can see all the commercial proposals that have been submitted to the customer are available for you. Because I'm an administrator, I can even see that there are two of those which are provisional right now. I can click on them and open them. Okay, and in the status you can see that they are validated or they are a draft, etc., etc. You can see the total and so on. Similarly, when you look at the commercial proposals, you can look at orders, you can look at if there are any orders, and you can see within the orders that some of them are delivered, some of them are still in process. Again, at going into one module, you can get a complete 360-degree view. All the information is available right in this module for you. I mean, in this module itself, there is so much of information that you will find that with this particular module, just this module, you will have a significant improvement in productivity. And then because of the consistency in all the displays, all the functionalities, your users are going to find it extremely easy to interact with this particular system. Whatever you see on the screen right now, the colors and all that, we can change those colors. We have kept a very elegant look and feel for this one. However, if you prefer them to be shown differently, different fonts, we can certainly customize that for you. All right, so going further about payment information, I need not describe this much more in detail, but you can see that the payment information for this Dell computers, whether which bank accounts they have for our payments, etc., that can be that is displayed over here. Tickets, that is yet another functionality that we are going to look into detail later on. But this is basically, suppose that with all the interaction with the customer, if they are opening some kind of a service ticket with you, some kind of a ticket for problems with the materials, deliverables, and whatnot, those tickets can be created here and managed over here. Margins are automatically calculated depending upon if you are purchasing it from a vendor and selling it to the customer, the same item, it definitely calculates your margins over here. Notes is a simple place where you can just write the notes which are public and private. Public note is something that other users can see. Private note is something that is private to you. The linked files, again, like I mentioned to you before, you can upload any of the files that you want to attach to this particular customer record. Here we have non-disclosure agreement and master services agreement, but you could have, yeah, if they have some kind of product specifications for it, some kind of other contracts, you can attach all those documents for this customer. So whoever is looking at this record will get the 360 degrees view, entire idea about this particular customer. Just imagine how powerful this is for your customer service representatives or your sales representatives, that they can walk away from the system or on their mobile phone, they can access this while they're in the parking lot visiting one of your customers or your vendors. They will have all the information that they need right on one screen over here. All right, then over here on the left hand side, you can see that there is another customer and tags and categories, and I had promised you that we will take over there. That's yet another very powerful feature. So when you click on that, you can see that you can create multi-level hierarchical tags and categories. Now your categories can be customized for anything. You can think about the geographies and or statuses and or you can have whether it is a large customer, small customer. You can also tag them whether they are, you have good relationships with them, okay relationships with them. There is plenty of options available. So you can customize this particular tags and categories, and automatically all your customers, all your vendors, all your prospects are going to be segmented. Now this goes along even for your products and services. So again, I'm not going to repeat that when we get into the other different module. Similarly, for our customers and prospects that you have, for vendors, you might want to tag them differently. Some of them you can tag them as maybe VIP customer, VIP vendors. So now you can, I will leave it to your imagination how you can use this, but this is extremely powerful. And then you can manage different contacts and addresses for these different vendors. It is very straightforward functionality. Let us not spend more time on that particular thing, and let's move on to our next module, which is going to be equally attractive module, that is your products and services. All right, for product and services, you click on product and services on the top. Like described before, you will see the left-hand side menu has now changed. It is context sensitive, which means now it shows your options available for products and services. Now, I'm very sure by now you are very familiar that this is a dashboard slash information pane, and it will display you the information. It can be customized. Uh, Let me click on new product just to show you the how it looks. But creating this particular new product is pretty simple. As you can see that there are multiple fields available for it. These all fields can be customized. I'll quickly show you the list view of this particular thing. Again, you can see that very much this is familiar. You are very familiar with this one. You can see that there are multiple fields available. They can be searched, tag with the tags and categories. You can have different tags and categories for products and services, and they also can be used in filtering the records. This has the selection field, so you can also select any other field that you would like to display over here in the list. All right, let us pick one of those to see the other features that are available. So let me choose Intel CPU. Oh, well, one more thing which I might have forgotten to mention, that whenever I take over my mouse to any of this, it always displays me some relevant information on the screen. So as I'm taking my mouse over to Intel CPU, you can see that it is giving me some product information on the top. That also can be further customized if you would like to customize that, but it gives you some relevant information over there, some key information. So let me click on this Intel CPU. And in this particular CPU, again, you will see a very familiar interface over here, where in the information pane, there are several tabs available for it. And as we tab along, go to the different tabs, there are different functionalities related with this specific product that will be displayed. So right on the first page itself, you can get some key information about the product. You can also see any linked files if there are any. They could be our product specification files, etc., etc. And then there are latest 10 linked events, where these linked events, you can create them or the system automatically creates them for you. Then when I click on the selling price, it tells me about the selling price depending upon what have been the selling prices in the past for it. When I click on the buying prices, if I'm buying this particular product, then from my vendors, then it will show me also the buying prices and which are the vendors which are providing me that particular thing. On the top here, you can see that each of the product you can tag for whether they are only for sale or only for purchase or both. So this product is available for sale as well as purchase, and hence you will see the selling price and the buying price for it. Then when you click on the statistics part of it, you will see the statistics which will show you that for the current year, how many number of units are there on the proposal, how many purchase orders on customer invoices, etc. So these graphs will be automatically populated for you. Like I mentioned before, this is a demo system, doesn't have a lot of data, but you can definitely see how useful this particular charts are going to be for you. That when you're looking at a product, you can get an one place, you get a glance of what exactly is going on with that particular product. Now, you can also not only look at the current year, but you can select the year that you would like to look for, and the data for that, as long as it's available in ERP, that will be shown in the graphical format. Moving on to related items. Again, this particular related items will tell you different kind of commercial proposals, these sales orders, etc., that are available. And the beauty is that you can click on one of those and open up those particular proposals. If you have multiple of those, you will see multiple of those. And when you click on it, you will get to vendor proposal. You'll get to see those. Variants are nothing much, but I'll show you yet another product for the variants. Okay, so let's skip through this one about the variants. But I guess you understand the concept that if the product has a variant, like for example, color or size or a different weight and so on, you can define the variant. So the original product remains that same product, and you can have different variants for it. And you can define even the variant parameters also. I'll show you it for a different product. Stock is a very powerful thing. Here on this particular screen, it is showing you the stock level at the different warehouses, or what you can name it as bins, that are available within your own manufacturing unit. and it will tell you how many are number of units available, what has been their weighted average input price, and these are all automatically calculated. Input stock value, what is the stock value for it? Hey, if you want to sell it, what is going to be the value if you sell that? So all this information is available for you. Now let me pull your attention towards another important thing. We also can maintain the stock limits for alerts. So thereby, when the stock drops below this particular number, we get alerted. We, in the sense, whoever is designated person, get alerted that the stock is low. Now, desired, it also has a desired stock level. So when you are significantly higher than the stock level, you can get alerts. So thereby, this will help system will help you to maintain the level of inventory to the lowest possible within your organization. Now, another thing with that is the physical stock. So this particular physical stock is automatically calculated. This particular physical stock, nobody has to enter that. You can, like you can see over here, there are available where you can correct the stock. So if you take as do some kind of an inventory count or audit and you want to adjust your stock, you can adjust that particular stock. You can transfer the stock over here. But along with the physical stock, another very important thing which is maintained in the system is the virtual stock. Virtual stock of 7,500 means that beyond the physical stock, there is stock available for you, which is maybe on the purchase orders or maybe it is on the sales. So here you can see that the physical stock is 6,000, but the virtual stock is 7,500. And if you take your mouse to this question mark, it will start explaining the difference between the physical and virtual stock. And here you can see the third line from the top says the product quantity from open purchase order is 2,500, which means that we are expecting 2,500 products to be coming in. They are available on the open purchase orders. However, the next line says the next line says that out of those open orders, we have already received 1,000. So that particular 1,000 is added into your physical stock. Hence, the difference between 2,500 and 1,000, which is 1,500, is what you see as a difference between the physical stock and virtual stock. I'm going to take a pause over here with a reason, for a purpose. Isn't this very important information for you? I mean, just considering the fact that you don't have to enter in the stock, the system is automatically going to manage this. Not only that it is displaying you the desired stock, the physical stock, but it is also displaying you the virtual stock, which will give you an idea about, hey, what am I going to do? How am I going to correct my stock? Am I going to order more? So on and so forth. Or do I have a lot of inventory and I need to sell more? So all this information is available to you just within this particular tab. Moving along to another tab, which is margins. Certainly the margin information can be displayed over here. You can have notes over here. And again, like you can write notes for this specific product with the linked files. As you are familiar with this, you can link the files over here. And then events and all that will provide you details about different events that are happening. These events can be manual, that you can enter them, or the system is automatically creating. I mean, you can look on the screen right now. All of these are inserted automatically for you. And these are when the product has been modified, the product inventory has been moved, etc., etc. So let me show you another product over here just to show the variants for it. So let's go for this ergonomic keyboard. And in this ergonomic keyboard, there are two variants, and those are basically some of the keys. Some of the keyboards have 78 keys, the another one has 84. So when you are adding this particular variants, you can also mention the price impact over here. So whenever people are going to purchase any of these variants or you're trying to sell that, automatically the prices will get adjusted with whatever the variance you have between that price. Similarly, for shipment also, if there is any variance in your weight, it will mean you can mention that particular thing, and automatically the weight for that particular consignment or that shipment is automatically calculated. Then going to the third item over here, which is stocks. Like we saw the stocks for one item at a time, but here you are seeing the stock for all your products and services if you have any stocks tracking for services, but they are available over here. Now again, I don't need to explain you much about the list over here. You can search them, or interestingly over here, they have given you one more good option over here saying, hey, which are the stock which are too low. So if I click on this one and search for it, I will always see the items which have a stock lower than what is a desired stock. And I immediately see what are my products. And not only that, I can click on these products, go to that particular screen and maybe raise a purchase order or whatever action that I would like to take. Similarly, the stock by the lot and serials. So again, the stock can be managed by the lots or serials, maybe for pharmaceutical companies or some companies where specifically you need to manage your stock by batches or serials or lots. That can be done. I'm not going to get into a lot more details for this one, as you all are familiar with that thing, and the functionality is very straightforward over here. In lots and serials, similarly, you can create the lots and serials over here. Variant attributes, like I mentioned to you before, that if there are variants for the products like color, size, here we have added like keyboard keys over there. If you could have a variant as a weight, all these can be defined over there. So instead of managing multiple variants as each individual product, you can have that particular thing rolled up into one product. Then statistics again gives you information about this particular product. For the current year, you can select specifically for a specific category. So if I want to select only for this VIP, reserved for VIP, you can see that my graphs have changed because of this particular search criteria. You can select for any year that you would like to know. This is very valuable information. And you also have another tab called as list of products by popularity. When you click on that, you can see that which have been popular depending upon the quantities in the proposal. If you would like to have yet another kind of an automated report like this, we can add one more report over here. But I hope that you are realizing that while going through all this, the need of having traditional reports by printing it on the printer and just distributing those, and keeping them on the desk, that need just goes away, because all the information is at your fingertips. You don't have to worry about where did I leave that report, where did I print it, which printer I have printed. You don't have to worry about it, because all information in real time is available within your own ERP. Similarly, I'm not going to go into the detail, but you can define your different services over here, and the services also have the same kind of a functionality. The warehouses, again, you can define different warehouses over here. Let me just quickly take you through the warehouse. So let me select one of the warehouses here. And then you can see that for the warehouse, you can see all the products at that warehouse and their unit quantities and all the information about it. Stock movements, you can see that what stock movements have taken place, and you can also correct the stock within that particular plant, or transfer the stock from this particular plant or this particular bin or this warehouse to another warehouse. You can create as many warehouses, as many bins as you want. And this particular log also provides you significantly important information about that, who has changed information about this, and so on and so forth. So for an audit log, this works really well. With that being said, I think the other thing is about the tags and categories for the warehouses. So just like you have seen the tags for third parties, product services, you can also create tags for your warehouses. And shipments, as you all know, you can create the shipments of this from the warehouses and ship the product out. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go into these details because I'm presuming by now, because that I've shown the details earlier and I have repeated myself, it is pretty clear what you would be seeing in those screens. So let's move on to the other modules that we have over here. So let's move on to our MRP, which is a manufacturing resource planning module. All right. To navigate to the MRP, I'm going to click on this MRP. You can see on the left-hand side that the menu has changed and this information pane is going to give you some important information about this. Now, in this particular module, you can manage your bill of material as well as your manufacturing orders. So let me quickly take you to the bill of material. As you can see, there is a list of bill of material, and let me just pick one of those. Let's say I would like to look at maybe the first one over here. And once I click on this, you can see that I see the details about the bill of material over here. And in the description over here and this particular, it shows me that within this particular bill of material, what are the child components that are included over here and the related quantities for this. I can take this back to the draft. I can disable this. I can create a manufacturing order. I can clone this, etc., etc. So you can create any number of bill of materials and you can have as much of hierarchy that you would like to have in this particular bill of materials. And thereby, for any complex bill of materials, this particular system is ready to manage that. Now, once you create the manufacturing order for it, once you click on create manufacturing order, you don't need to calculate what are all the products that you need to add to that manufacturing order. Automatically, if you are creating a product, say, let's say bill of material, Intel motherboard, automatically all of these products are entered in there and available for you. So again, just imagine the amount of time that is going to be reduced and the manual errors that will be reduced with all this kind of an automation that's available in this particular ERP. I'm not going to create one, but you can imagine how that will look and how that will print and so on and so forth. So let's move on to the next module. So again, new manufacturing order, that's what we are looking over here. And you can look at the list of, there is just one available in this demo. I can open that for you. And this is how it looks. You can see that once that manufacturing order is there, you can see within the production that when it is produced, you can see that particular quantity will change as the target quantity is 750, and as we are completing the production, this quantity will automatically change. You can decide about the consume or produce and so on and so forth. Thereby, you can understand how the inventory of that entire thing is moving into different things. You can have notes, you can have linked files, and there will obviously be events which are linked with this one. So that's about with the MRP module. Again, very powerful module, and this can be further customized. It can be extended based upon what your requirements are. So that's about in the ERP module. Let's move on to the projects module, which is again a feature-rich product, feature-rich module. All right, getting into projects, you can see on the left-hand side in the menu, you can create a new lead or a project over there. You can list the projects over here. Statistics will provide you some statistical information about the projects over here, about the leads, about the number of created and so on and so forth. Then important thing is that each of the projects are going to have some task. So if you choose one of the project, let's say from the list, I guess there is only one project over here. But once you select that particular project, you can see that in tasks, there are different tasks over here. And these tasks can again be hierarchical. They can have parent-child relationship among them, and automatically, the time spent on that, depending upon the time sheets and all that, the time spent on that, that will all be captured over here. It will also show you the progress of each of the tasks over here. So this helps you to manage these different projects. If you have a different department which is managing the projects, and this could be any R&D projects, this could be manufacturing project, these could be the special projects that you are running for any customer on any vendor, you can track those over here. But these will allow you to capture all information about project. Time spent, it allows you to capture the time spent. And again, because that I'm administrator, I see all these tabs and all these functionalities. However, for users, depending upon what role they are assigned and what permissions they are assigned, they may not be seeing all these tabs. Clicking on the overview will give you overview about the project, and it will show you if you have put in some kind of a commercial information for the project. It will show you the profit and so on and so forth. The reason I'm rushing through this is only because that I know that by now you can extrapolate this information, how the system is working. In fact, at times we have seen that people would step away from this demo because they have clearly understood the value of it, how easy it is to use it, and they would like to start discussing with us further. However, I would like to cover this as much as we can over here. Then tickets which are related with this project, notes, linked files, events. Now you can see the consistency of user interface over here, that you will see that for whether it is a product, service, third party, you will always see the events, LinkedIn, notes, etc. available for you. That is about this particular module. Again, like I said, I'm rushing through this one just because I know that you already know this information. And let's move on to the next module, which is the commerce module, which is yet another exciting module. All right, over to commerce module. Once I click on the commerce module, I see options on the left hand side where this particular module allows you to create sales orders, purchase orders, contracts, vendor proposals. Now, I would like to remind you that all of this information was accessible even through the individual third parties as well as products and services, and it was available from that screen also. So now, if you go to a third party and raise the purchase order over there, it can be done that way, or you can come over here and you can create a new sales order or a new proposal over here. It is exactly it is giving you different options how you would prefer to do that. It depends upon your organization and the permissions that you have within the organization, but there are multiple entry points for these functionalities. That's what I would like to highlight over here. Beyond that, in this particular module, there is not much we can view that you have not already seen. So for example, if you go get into to get the list of all the sales orders, you will see the sales orders over here, and then you can click on one of the sales orders and you get the details for it. You can then send email, create contract. I'm very sure that you remember the screen that we must have seen maybe half an hour ago about having these kind of several buttons related with that. And you can create contracts, create shipments, delivered. You can create an invoice, classify them that they have been billed, etc., etc. And then you can, based on that, you can look at different contacts that you have, different shipments that you have for that particular order, and all this information is available at the fingertips. Again, in interest of time, I don't intend to go through each and every each and every option over here. However, I'm very sure that you get the idea about how powerful this information is. It is available for you through this particular module or for independently from the third party or for products and services. So this is where what is called as typically uh, as a circular relationship, so that it does not mandate user to go to a specific screen and a specific option to access information. The information is circular and it is always available on different screens. All right, so that's about it. Let's move on to the billing and payment module, which is also we can quickly go through that because you have seen the customer invoices, vendor invoices, billable orders. We have kind of covered these things when we were looking into the third parties. Just so that you can remember that, I'm going to click on one of these invoices. Let's say I click on this invoice and I see all the invoice related information, and then I can send an email, I can enter the payment, I can classify as this is abandoned, create a credit note, clone, and etc. etc. So I see very similar UI, similar buttons, similar screens. So thereby this particular module as well as all other modules are very easy for users to really interact with them. So without any further delays, I would like to move on to the next one. However, I want to make sure that I'm not leaving you with a thought that these are not important modules and they are not feature rich. They are. They are significantly feature rich. They are significantly important. However, we have covered this information earlier. Hence, I'm moving on pretty quickly to the next module. I think I had told you this before that I would be moving faster in the later modules because the functionalities are similar to that. So moving on to the banks and cash, and this was not the functionality we covered in other modules, but you can have as many number of banks over here. And when you click on a bank, then you can get all this information about the different bank entries. These bank entries doesn't necessarily have to be manual. You can create a manual one. However, if there is any kind of a vendor payments, or if it is kind of a customer receipt and you have received the payments from the customer, all of these entries, as long as you are entering the transaction elsewhere, automatically your bank register is getting created for you. You will also see the planned entries, which means that though the entries are not there in the bank, so nothing has debited or credited, but these are something which are either remaining unpaid or these are something which are due, and hence you can see the future cash flow coming into this particular bank or a specific account that you are looking into. Monthly reporting gives you an idea about what have been your opening balance, closing balance, how many money has been debited and credited into your accounts. Graphics is nothing but will present you the information on a graphically on this one. Uh, as I mentioned, this for the demo. We don't have as much of information. In future, we'll certainly have more information in the demos, but you will get an idea about how powerful this information is. And the account statements will give you the account statements for this. You can reconcile those account statements, etc. So with that being said, this particular module is important. However, most of this particular module, the data that is being displayed, is being created through the invoice payments or receiving the amounts, receiving the payments from your customers, etc., etc. And automatically your bank statement is prepared for you, and you can reconcile also these bank statements which are within your ERP with your actual bank statements. Moving on to the accounting. In the accounting also, most of this information within the accounting is created automatically for you. There is this customer invoice binding. You can have the account codes in there for your. So if we click on the setup part of it, it will show you that within the setup that we can have the accounting journals, chart of accounts. You click on chart of accounts and you can see, you can create the entire your chart of accounts, or maybe a shorter list of your chart of accounts, because you might already have another accounting system which is managing rest of the things. It's all depending upon you. Another advantage is that there are several already templates for chart of accounts into the system. So depending upon the country that you are in and the accounting practices that you are following, you might be able to find one of the template in there. Some of them are international, about from France and Denmark and so on. So that's all about chart of accounts. And then these chart of accounts you can link with your products, with your services, with your customers, with your vendors, and automatically as the transactions are happening for those customers and vendors, you will find your accounting entries are already taken care of. The double entry is automatically done for you, so that people don't necessarily have to have entries done in here. If you have defined the VAT accounts and tax accounts, that information will be available over here, and that will be automatically be applicable as you are creating the invoices and proposals and your payments, etc. So this creates your manages your all the accounting, most of that being done automatically. You can personalize some groups of the accounts for your convenience for your reporting. Then product accounts will basically tell you what are those for the products. Then export options will allow you to export this information, whether you want that to be as a CSV or export it to your any of the Sage systems and so on and so forth. And we have more interfaces than this. If your accounting system, external accounting system is not here, we can add one over here. But if it is not there, you can also on the fly create this particular thing, and you can export this information. Similar to the product accounts, you will have customer invoice binding, vendor binding. So you can bind the customer invoices. Either you can do it automatically by setting the rules, or you can set up, do it manually. You can do that manually with just one button clicks. If you click on bind automatically, whatever are the invoices outstanding, which are not bound yet, they will be bound with this particular mouse click. Then you can have the sell journals, you can have purchase journal, you can have finance journal with just the mouse click, and you can define the date range for this particular thing. So let's say if I would like to have it from the beginning of the year until now, I can refresh this particular thing, and I should be able to see some records if they are there. Let me see. All right, there we go. And I can see the record over here. Again, this you might need as a report, and it can be available as a report, but we are eliminating the need of having a report, because while you are sitting on an airport waiting for something, or maybe in your office having lunch, or maybe waiting for a customer to join you for a lunch, you can quickly look at this particular thing and get your cash positions in the bank, or what has been your balance, what has been for a specific account. All this information is available with just a mouse click and on your mobile devices. Ledger will provide you the entire ledger for you, and here you can see some ledger entries over here. You can again set some kind of filters over here and search the entries over here, but all of these are automatically created for you. So the need of manually entering, somebody going to an accounting system and manually entering these, or manually creating purchase orders or the payments or the invoices, that is completely eliminated. Your accounting system, your bank, all these entries are automatically taken care by ERP. I mean, I hope that by now you have understood the power of this particular feature that is there, where you don't have to manually enter these entries. Only certain entries, that if you might have some cash transactions that you have not captured, those are the ones that you will have to hand enter. Otherwise, your bank statements will always be up to date. All right, moving on to the next module, documents. Now, obviously, document management is a key feature and very important feature, as you will be dealing with hundreds of customers and hundreds and thousands of vendors. There are a lot of documents, and documents means your purchase orders, your sales orders, your agreements, your proposals. All of these are documents. And for any company, managing those and filing those is always a big, huge task. Let me show you how simple this is. So we have an powerful document management system in here, where you can create your own directory structure over here and start storing it. This directory structure can be shared among two different users, so they can also start storing their documents there. However, the most beautiful thing in here is this automatic tree. So when I click on this, you will see that there are certain folders which are automatically created for you. So if I click on vendor proposal, without me moving the vendor proposals over there, I collectively see all my vendor proposals over here. I can click on any one of them and open that particular PDF and look at that particular proposal. Similarly, if I have vendor invoices, I see the vendor invoices over there. If I have sales orders, I see my sales order automatically created over here. So for my document management or filing these documents for auditing, for any other purposes, it is right available in here without you taking any extra efforts for filing them. Now, let me just remind you that when we were looking for banks and cash, I mentioned to you that that is automatically generated for you as long as some of the cash entries you might have to do. For accounting, I mentioned automatically the accounts are populated for you as long as they are properly bound to product, service, customers, and so on. Your accounting is automatically taken care of. Your filing of those documents and all that, they are also automatically taken care of by the system. So just imagine the amount of workload that will be taken off your chest by just deploying this particular ERP. Now, I would like to end this particular over here. However, the most important thing is that, hey, if I have this data stored in here, can I import the data? I have I have hundreds and thousands of customer records. I'm not going to hand enter into ERP. You don't have to, because in the tools, if I go into tools, you can see that within the tools, you will have all this particular functionality available for you for importing and exporting. So here you can see that there are email templates, so you can use the email templates to send different kinds of emails. But you can set up an export as well as you can import the data. So when I select, an export of the data, just look at all the information that is enabled for you in here, whether it is proposals, sales orders, products, etc., etc. All this data can be exported. So anyone who has access to this particular application, it is available for them. I should correct myself. Anyone who has a permission to access this, they can export the data. Similarly, when you look at the import, you can select the new import and then you can decide which data set you would like to import. So for example, you would like to import your third parties. So you want to import, let us say, the third parties and their properties. So once you select this particular thing, I'm going to select this one for importing, then automatically upon this, it is going to it asks me whether it is Excel or it is CSV. Let's say I choose that it is a CSV file, and I go into here for CSV file, and it is then going to ask me choose a file. And once I choose the file, then it will read that particular file, allow me to map the records, and it will allow me to import those records. I mean, this is a very powerful feature, but you might find this similar kind of feature in other applications also. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. Oh, well, about barcodes, I mean, simple functionality over here, like a barcode. You can create label pages for barcodes. How many times do you need that for shipment and so on? People need to print the barcodes. It is as simple as you can go over here, select which paper you would like to print it for. So let's say I'm going to select, this particular Avery, which is international standard for papers. I'm going to select this one and I'm going to say that, okay, all right, you know what? I'm not going to fill in this manually because I know the product. So let's say if I click on this and I say that I'm going to select one of the products. So let's say I would like to build it for the CPU. Okay, and when I click on get the barcode, automatically the barcode is there. I click on this generate page to print and my barcode is ready. I just have to put that paper in my printer and print as many copies as I want. So that kind of concludes this particular demo. There are significantly more functionalities that are available over here. There are more modules which are available in here. However, the purpose of this was, though I wanted to show you just only the key features, this video has already been 1 hour 10 minutes video. I would love to show you the other modules. I would love to get into the more details about these features. However, I would right now end this particular video over here. If you are interested in more modules or diving into more details of this, please send us an email, which is written in the description of this, and we would be more than happy to get in touch with you and show you more features for this. Hopefully by now, I have demonstrated you enough features that you would fall in love with this particular ERP. If you have not, then I don't think I have done a good job at explaining you, and you can blame me for it and maybe ask for a demo from somebody else. However, this is a very powerful ERP system available, considering that there are SAPs and Sage and Oracle ERPs of the world available for $500,000, $1 million kind of implementation. This particular is an open source application, which means that the cost of this ERP is zero for any licensing. There will be cost for customization, implementations, adding some more features and all that, which anyway you have to pay for Sage and Oracle. So if you are considering any of those ERPs, you might want to give a try about this and compare the prices. We would be very happy to tell you what the differences are, and you can definitely send you the price proposal also. Again, thank you very much for staying so long with me. Sorry it took much longer, but again, I could not cover the entire subject matter as I had mentioned before. To go through each and every feature of this, it might take 3 to 4 hours. But let me wrap this up. I welcome you to send us your comments to the email address that is written there. If you are interested in anything more, we will be more than happy to give you this demo. With that being said, thank you very much. I really appreciate, and I hope that your time was well spent. I look forward to getting in touch with you soon. Thank you very much.